Hello, I'm Scott Maynard with the St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here today with Kelly Wilson, Deputy Director of the Emergency Management Center. And we're here to talk about hurricane preparedness from a business perspective. So Kelly, as a business owner getting ready to prepare for a hurricane, what are some of the things that I should consider?
So some of the important items to remember, there are a lot of times they're similar to the things we prepare our homes for, but you need to find out, is your business in an evacuation zone? You can go to the St. Johns County Emergency Management website and you'll see a My Evacuation Zone tool. Enter your St. Johns County business address and you will be able to, it will pull up whether you're in an evacuation zone. The next thing I would recommend you do is make sure your business is prepared. And things like, look at your windows, look at your exposure, especially if you're in an evacuation zone. Let's take the time now, if we want to shutter windows, to make sure we have the appropriate shutters or plywood or whatever you're going to use. Do you have any items, especially in evacuation zone, because we're evacuating for storm surge, so let's make sure that anything we have on the floor that we can lift up off the ground in hopes that it's a small flood and you can protect it from that water. But I would say this goes into continuity of operations planning for your business. I use the example of, imagine you pulled into your parking lot tomorrow morning and the whole building was just gone. It fell into a hole in the earth. How are you going to continue your operations, no matter what your business is? You need to make sure any of your files, be they computer files or paper files, are backed up somewhere, especially the paper. The paper files that you may not be able to live without, pick them up and take them with you. Know what they are today. Figure out what those files are today. Don't wait till we're in that 5-day cone or that 3-day cone and you're panicky. Things like, do you have equipment and vehicles, especially any sort of specialty equipment? Let's take that equipment and move it out of the evacuation zone if possible. That way, when you return, your equipment also hasn't flooded. That is critical to your business mission. Those are some of the really, really important parts. The other one is your employees. How are you going to reconnect with your employees when you come back? How are you going to get a hold of them? How are you going to make sure they are safe, their family is safe? Are they back? Are they available to work? So make sure you have that roster of employees that you can in fact get a hold of. So I would say the next step in that is, it's post-storm. You've had to evacuate, okay? My recommendation is always, first of all, follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Both the county, emergency management, fire rescue, we will be sharing that same message. The evacuation order must be lifted, especially if you're in an evacuation zone, before you will be allowed to go back. That's an important thing because we don't want you sitting there at a bridge approach waiting. Because the reason it takes time for that evacuation order to be lifted is we have to make sure the streets are cleared. We have to make sure it is safe for you to return. There's going to be debris all over the roadways. After Hurricane Irma, we had to send road and bridge tractors and bulldozers with our search and rescue crews to assist in clearing the roads ahead of them. So even if you could get there, you probably couldn't get down the road because there's so much debris that has washed up. So we first have to lift that order. So stay wherever you are that's safe. Once you see that that evacuation order has been lifted, I'd recommend you send somebody back. Be you the business owner, the manager. Go look at your business, see how it's doing. Did it sustain damage? Do you have power? Things like that. That's when you start getting in contact with call your insurance if you sustain damage. Do you need a cleanup? Start getting in touch with the folks that you've pre-identified to start cleaning up your business, getting it going. You know, the power is going to take time to be restored, depending upon especially the damage that we've sustained. It could take weeks to get power. So that's where you start thinking, imagine the building's just gone. What am I going to do? Can you potentially operate on a cell phone out of your house and you have your trucks parked wherever and you get your employees moving? Until you can get your business back up and running, the damage fixed. You know, can you stand in the parking lot and manage your business? You know, it depends on what you do for a living and what your business is. So these are all important considerations rather than just tell all your employees within 24 hours report here, because we really don't know what it's going to be.
Are there critical businesses that you would need back into operation to assist in the cleanup effort, recovery effort, or just getting the county back into business again?
Absolutely. The economic recovery is an incredibly important piece of recovery, especially those businesses like those cleanup businesses, those home improvement type stores, the hardware store, those types of things. Folks need those businesses back up, and we need them back up and running. And if you're one of those businesses that maybe, especially if you're outside that evacuation zone, look at maybe having a generator, even if it's not a permanent one, a temporary one, that you can at least get the lights back on. A lot of people, you may not have a whole business or whole house generator, but it's a generator that can at least get the lights turned on and a couple fans running. So we start looking at those very critical type businesses, because you're absolutely right. Getting our businesses back up and running is a critical piece. Right. We've got to look at that economic recovery, but yeah, like those cleanup folks, the home improvement, people are trying to fix their homes. Right. The grocery stores, the food stores, we want those folks back up and running so people can go to the grocery store, they can buy water, they can fix their homes. And also, these people work at these businesses. Right. Your chamber members, these businesses, they work there. They need to go back to work to be able to make money to afford these repairs and all the things that go along with it. And gas station, all of those businesses, we need them up. And we need folks to go back to work.
So Kelly, I know as the chamber is the lead in the ESF 18 function in helping these businesses get back open and establishing cleanup and establishing information, especially in understanding procedure and government assistance and how to apply for all that. Could you talk a little bit about that role?
Absolutely. The chamber is a very critical, is a mission critical piece of this EOC. When the EOC is activated, the chamber always has a representative here. And the chamber helps both the Emergency Operations Center a great deal. They do things like, first, you contact all your chamber members with all of our information, so you ensure that any emergency information is getting to the businesses. You also ensure, like, when we have additional resources coming in to assist the community to recover, you help us with things as simple as hotels and restaurants that are open and things like that. You help the community, and then on the other side, you go back to ensuring that that information gets to the businesses. They understand the evacuation order has been lifted. You will even send them information like, these are the areas without power. After Irma, there was a certain point that pretty much everybody was out without power. And that's important, critical information that you share with your chamber members. You also then assist with that recovery piece, that insurance piece. After one of the storms y'all set up, it was like a little business recovery village with the Small Business Association. And it was a huge assistance to all of our businesses, helping them recover, helping them understand the process of recovery and insurance and just getting through all of those little things that we don't do every day. The chamber's there to help them.
Yeah. And it's critical to know that all of that information is available through our website and social media channels, even if they're not chamber members. So any business will be able to access that information and understand it. So
yes, and it is such a critical piece of this, because it goes back to that economic recovery, getting our businesses back open and recovered from a disaster, so that we go on and get back to, because everybody wants to go back to regular. Right. They want to go back to a day-to-day regular life where they can just go to the hardware store or go to the restaurant.
Sometimes that's quick, sometimes that takes time, but sometimes having that information is critical in expediting that process.
Scott, we really appreciate the chamber giving us the opportunity to speak with all of your chamber members as well as the businesses of St. Johns County. Thank you.
Yeah. And just so you know, this information is available on our website. There's also the Hurricane Preparedness Guide that you can use. Again, take this information seriously. It's so critical that you are prepared during this season so you're not caught off guard.